Well, you know, sometimes you go into a movie, right? Sometimes you see a trailer or a movie's coming out and you think to yourself, I have a really big question about this movie, right? Like, I just, like, you know, either like, why would they cast so-and-so, or is this movie going to be too dark, or, you know, like, whatever it is. And then you go see the movie, and a lot of the time you're like, oh, okay, you know what? That I didn't know why they were doing that, and the trailer didn't do a good job of selling me on that aspect of it, but that was just kind of something that was unique to the trailer, and it plays much better in the film, and it's not a big deal. I actually really enjoyed that aspect of it. There was a movie trailer that we saw, I don't know, back in the summer or whenever this came out.
Yeah.
And it was for Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim.
Right.
Which is a prequel to the Peter Jackson films. It's set 200 years before The Hobbit.
Which is a weird... You're absolutely right in factually what you're saying, but it usually, like, prequels are a little bit more like this happened directly prior to something. But
leading right into, yeah.
Yeah, but it is a prequel, yeah.
Which didn't bother me because, listen, like, War of the Rohirrim, that story, you know, I was like, ooh, okay, niche audience, maybe.
Yeah.
But that is a Tolkien... Like, it's based on his writings.
Oh, yeah.
That is a story that he wrote. This isn't, you know, they're not pulling this out of their ass. Like, I get it, right? I get, at least, you know, you're doing a thing. Produced by Peter Jackson. Okay, cool.
Right.
And, yeah, 200 years before The Hobbit, but... You know what? When you're dealing with something like Tolkien, I mean, you know, you have the Rings of Power series, which is 2,000 years before The Hobbit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And so, I mean, obviously that circles around a really big event with characters that you know, and stuff like that. But, you know, hey, whatever, right? When you're dealing in Tolkien's world, there's so much to explore and play around with. That 200 years before The Hobbit, it didn't throw me. Yeah. My big question from the trailer, and I voiced it to you, I voiced it to Carl, I voiced it to Aaron, I got up on the top of the water tower, and I was like, hey, WTF. My question going into it was, why anime? Like, I get animated. Right, I understand why you would do something animated.
Yeah.
Your budget, like the cost of making this is going to be a fraction of a fraction. So I get that.
Constraints, yeah, budget, time, everything.
Yeah, and so I get that. Little weird to me to do a animated theatrical release as opposed to like a straight to Netflix or straight to Prime, I guess. But I was like, okay, yeah, like whatever. There's animated films playing in the theaters all the time. It's right. Lord of the Rings. It's set in the same world that Peter Jackson created, right? It's not like a standalone thing. It's a part of that. No. It's all, and I'm like, okay, but anime, a theatrical released anime feature. And I'm going to wrap this up by saying I went to the theater with that question in my pocket, and I walked out of the theater, and that question was still in my pocket. I was still like 2 hours and 15 minutes later, and I'm going...
That question is still...
Yeah, but why anime? Like, what were you thinking? Like, for why? Why? Anyways, hello and welcome.
Welcome to the Movie Man Podcast. I am Peter, and my existential crisis asking why co-host is Brady. And as you, as you can tell, if you can read or you've listened to the first minute of the show, we're here.
You can read?
Well, no, just mean like the episode will say War of the Rohirrim. We're reading, you know. It is obviously, you can tell we're here to review the new release, which was theatrical and quite recently on streaming and home viewing, The War of the Rohirrim, the 2024 film. And, you know, although you're asking questions why, it's still a big deal, both for super nerdy people, for less, you know, like more superficial Lord of the Rings-ish fans, you know, which I believe you and I both represent in this show. Like, you've read way more books than I have in this universe. I'm more of a film fan, and we're both interested in it. So it's big for our show. It's big for the Tolkien fandom universe. And it just, yeah, there's a lot of questions around it and interest around it. And it's we're here to review it.
We are. And I feel like it's fair for me to disclaim. It's important for me to disclaim. Anime doesn't work for me, right? Like, this isn't just, like, I didn't go into this going, you know, I usually really love anime, but this one seems, I'm not an anime guy.
Sure.
Right? So there's that. You have to take it, in a sense, I would say, subjectively, I would say probably in a pretty small sense, you have to take some of my review with a grain of salt when it comes to the anime stuff, but also like on a broader scale, I mean, I tend to be of the opinion that that the fans of anime, I know there's a lot of fans of anime. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I do. I know several fans of Carl's an anime
Carl's
guy.
big on it, and I feel like it's become more adopted by the mainstream, obviously in the last 20 years, but even in the last 10, you know, it is gaining popularity in more mainstream circles.
But I would still argue that the ratio of people who like anime versus people who couldn't give less of a shit about anime, that it's less than 50%. Right? Less than half the population are horny on anime. And so
that's
just
a movie men's shirt waiting to happen right there.
So I'm not horny on anime. So I just like, so from a appeal, like we've talked about, I've talked about this till I'm blue in the face.
Hold on. And should we initial impressions it before? Like, we should do some initial impressions and then just really peel this onion, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So my initial impression is, why anime? Mm-hmm. Like I mean, I feel like I've been initial impressioning for 15 minutes here. 15 minutes. I don't understand. You know, I think it's a great story. Mm-hmm. I think that the dialogue is not very good in this film. For a specific reason, and we can get into that.
Yeah.
But I don't have an issue with the story. I don't have an issue with the synopsis, because it's a Tolkien story, right? Like,
yeah.
He wrote it, but I think the film makes a couple of confusing decisions.
Sure.
And the most paramount of those being the animation style they chose.
Sure.
You know, that's, I think right out of right off the bat, you know, you are going to lose. You're going to lose a certain percentage of your population.
And just remember, keep in mind, initial impressions.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
You're gonna lose a certain percentage of your population when you announce that you're making a Lord of the Rings film, because some people don't care.
Sure.
Of that percentage, you are going to lose a certain amount when you say that it's animated.
Right.
I don't think you're going to gain anyone. I don't think anyone who doesn't like Lord of the Rings but really loves animation is going to jump on the bandwagon. I think you shave off another percentage when you say animation, but you've still got a group there. You're going to lose more people when you say prequel. And I think you're taking a machete to it when you go, like, you may have a whole slew of people who would say, oh, you know what? Lord of the Rings animated prequel. Yes. Oh, anime. I'm not even gonna sit through 2 hours of anime. No. So yeah, that's my initial impression. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand what anyone at New Line Cinema was thinking.
Yeah. You know what? I came in with more just open-ended questions. And my open-ended question was, is this a Lord of the Rings story for me? Like, is this something that I enjoyed? And ultimately the answer is yes. I mean, there's a lot to unpack. We'll try not to... It's tough because I don't know if... And I'm not trying to make my initial impression and getting into the meat of things here. I'm not sure if plain Jane animation would have been any less detrimental to the outcome for me. Just as far as the gold standard would be, I want this set in live action and I want everything like with actual models and stills and things like they used in the original films. And that's just not going to happen for budget constraint reasons. So for me, at the end of the day, I had fun with it. Are there issues with the animation? Yeah, I'm not the biggest anime person either. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed seeing this in theaters. I enjoyed seeing it felt like a Lord of the Rings story for me, so I enjoyed seeing this movie. And I overall thought it was good. Is it great? Is it elite? Am I going to watch it every Christmas? No, I'm not. But I don't dislike it. And I don't mean this as a slight, but this is just the state of this is the pulse check of that franchise. With the things that are coming out in the MCU, less so recently, but in the past couple years, but there was just a lot of shows that were subpar. In the Star Wars universe, where there's some shows that are subpar, where I don't feel the need to watch it at all, or I've watched it and I've gone, wow, that was really deflating. This was not the case. I really enjoyed it. So in the end, it felt like a Lord of the Rings story for me, and I was content with it.
So, I mean, that's something we should talk about because you committed a marriage sin.
What?
Well, yeah. So we need to unpack the story. You saw this film in a multiplex, right? A theater that had several different film options. It wasn't a little ma and pa hey, this is what's playing.
It wasn't. It by no means was it like an IMAX Ultra AVX upside down, inside out.
No,
but it was.
But there were options.
Correct. Yeah.
And there was one person, and I'm getting this part out of the way early, and it's going to sound like I'm salty about this. I'm really not. I don't care. I couldn't care less. There was one person. Because I don't feel like this was a wrong against me. I feel like it's a wrong against your wife, and then by extension, a wrong against my partner, Brienne. Right. There was one person in your life that you knew was, at the very least, obligated to see this film. Right? I'm not even going to say was excited about it. There was one other person who was obligated, right? Because they were also going to record this with you, right? And you went for a date night,
date afternoon to be specific.
A date afternoon. You're not helping. It's nothing more romantic than the sun being up. You went with your wife, and stop me where I start to get this wrong.
Sure.
Your wife really wanted to see this movie. That's where you should be jumping in.
It's not that, okay, to be clear, it wasn't that she didn't want to see it. She wanted to see it, but of the two, she was more like 51% more wanting to see Wicked. Maybe more 60%.
She wanted to go see Wicked. A completely reasonable, understandable date movie to go see.
Maybe.
A musical, I feel like...
I'd argue, though, I've watched Lord of the Rings with her countless times, so this is more of an emotionally significant outing than Wicked, which I've seen never with her.
No, but you'd never seen this film either.
No,
And
but I
you've
mean,
seen
like,
The Wizard of Oz.
I've watched Lord of the Rings universe things with her, right? Like,
Right, but you've never watched The Wizard of Oz with her?
I don't know if I ever have, to be quite honest. Like, I've seen it. She has too. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know if I've ever sat down with her being like, well, honey, it's time to watch the movie where they sit in asbestos to pretend it's snow.
You've never been in the car together when Ariana Grande comes on the radio? Like,
we were going to make Ariana Grande's One Less Problem Without You our wedding song, but then we didn't.
oh my God. See? She was almost a part of your wedding, and she's in this film. No, but you said, no, honey. I am the head of this household. I'm putting my foot down. I am not watching that colorful, fun, smashing all types of box office records, critically acclaimed film with you. We're going to watch anime for the next 2 hours and 15 minutes, which then, by extension, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I find out after the fact. You send a message, you're like, guess what I did? Which, again, fine. I don't care. But now that puts me in a position where I had to go up to Brienne and say, hey, do you want to have a date night? I was thinking we could see a movie. And instantly, she saw right through it and went, we got to see that Lord of the Rings thing, right? And she too loves, like, we've watched Lord of the Rings together several times. We have done together the one sitting extended edition of the Lord of the Rings. We've done a 12-hour marathon of Lord of the Rings together.
I haven't done that since I was in high school. Like,
but she was really sour. No, I mean, she was a good sport about it, but she didn't, there was, that was playing, Mufasa was playing, like, there was several other options that she would have rather sat and watched. So anyways, it's just it's nuts to me that you and what did she think?
She actually liked it. She actually liked it. I've come around to it, and I've retrospectively enjoyed it more than my initial impressions were, like when I walked out of the theater. But she liked it more than I did at the time, and now I think we kind of like it equally.
Okay.
Yeah, she actually liked it.
Look, I will say, even though I shat all over the anime thing, I had a theory going into it, which was that after about 15 minutes, I wouldn't notice the anime. And that is more or less what happened. There's a couple of moments because of the style of anime where, like, oh, wow, yeah, that's you're being given this information and not emoting at all because the animators just decided not to draw you for like, you're just freeze frame for 5 seconds. Where I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm getting sucked out of this.
Listen, what I'll say, okay, I want to say something and then I want to back it up with a riddle me this. I agree. I thought I would become more accustomed to it than I was. I will be honest. Like, even by the end of the movie, it wasn't. I was still noticing it.
Right.
There was a couple scenes where, in the woods, I remember when the elephant was chasing her, and like before any action was happening, instead of having like here's like a panoramic cinematography shot of like the woods and panning to things artistically, it was like jagged shot, and then just like panning the camera like a 2-year-old playing with a camera. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm dizzy from this, instead of having like a thought out cinematography pleasing scene. So there were times where I'm like, okay, maybe this is an inferior product, but there were moments where there were stills. Like, you could take so many stills of this movie, any freeze frame moments, and it was beautiful. Like when you're looking at the Golden Hall with the stars in the background, like any freeze framed moments, there were really great freeze framed moments. So my question to you is, because I'm drawing a blank, if they had not gone anime and they had gone normal animation, can you think of an animated movie of this type of caliber, whether it be action, whether it be that mystique of like I don't want to say culture, but you know, the background that say that Tolkien and his lore has. Can you think of something that is a similar example of an animated movie that has the oomph to it that, you know, is rich and kind of a stylistic choice that kind of can be anime? Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Because I'm saying, okay, maybe anime didn't work, but would animation have really gotten us a better result?
Yes. If you're looking for something that is more well-known, I would say something like the movie Klaus, the Christmas movie, has got kind of a fun, stylistic approach. The other thing, if you're unfamiliar with this is like this is what they should have gone and rifled through as their options.
I'm going to pause you right there. Yeah, I've not seen Klaus, but like I'm looking and I'm like, yeah, that checks out. Like that animation style would have been kind of neat.
Would have been great.
Sorry, continue.
And now Google Death, Love, and Robots. So there's a Netflix series with I think it's like 3 or 4 seasons now, and each season's just like 8 or 9 animated shorts, like between 4 and 10 minutes. And they're all independent, all made by different people.
Oh, cool.
All little indie things. Yeah. And everyone has an entirely different animation approach. Right?
Oh, okay.
Like if no two are the same. But yeah, if you Google image Death, Love, Robots and you just start like going down through the list of pictures that are there, you'll see a ton of different anime. Some that look as good as like video game cutscenes, like highly rendered video game cutscenes.
Right.
Some that are more like traditional like 2D drawing things. Sure. Some that are and they're all some that almost have a little bit of a Pixar feel to them. But it's all over the place. I'm
looking here. And I've kind of come up with an example to counterpoint my counterpoint. I would even look at like the 1990s Prince of Egypt when you're looking at something like stylistically, something of like an ancient culture, something that has really rich visual moments. Like when you look back at that movie, like that DreamWorks movie, it's very visually breathtaking. So I think I'll retract my point of like, hey, you know, give me an example. Well, you've listed 2, I've listed 1.
I'm sending you an image right now. Check it out, and I'll link the image in the show notes. Mm-hmm. This is a screenshot from an episode of Death, Love, and Robots.
Yep.
And I think that animation style would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of a sort of like a watercolor, like a mural backdrop thing, right? Like a landscape painting backdrop, not super detailed, but your characters and anything that's in the foreground has got a lot more detail in it. Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like I don't know, you said like, you know, there's some really beautiful freeze frames. I don't know, man. I spent the whole time thinking that because of the animation style, the world was not near as impressive to me or stunning as, I mean, obviously as much as the live action would be.
Sure.
But I mean, that's just something you lose by going away from live action.
Yeah.
But just in general, like it was just a general lack of detail in a lot of things, right? Like the establishing shot zooming in to Edoras. I was just kind of like, meh. Like, I can tell that it's Edoras because it's based off of Peter Jackson's one.
Right.
And you know, I think they were aware of that because there is a little bit of a moment that you have when you're like, oh shit, it's Edoras. We're in Rohan.
Right.
But I don't think it's because there are nice Tolkien-rich visuals.
Right.
I think it's because Steve Gallagher, the gentleman who composed this film, scored this film, did so much ripping off, and rightfully so, right? Like it's the same world. You want Rohan to have, but it literally like there's a lot of times where I feel like they thought to themselves, it hasn't really, does it really feel like Lord of the Rings right now? I don't know. Play the song. Right? Yeah, well, that's, yeah, sure. But
Okay. So here's what else. Here, I want to piggyback on what you're saying because, yeah, I mean that's fair. I still think there's times that there were stills and cinematic moments that were good, but I do think you're right. There were moments that, cinematography wise or visually wise, it was problematic.
They got the music to do a bunch of heavy lifting in this film.
So that's what. So let's use that to slide into something else here. So, do you think some of the fan service, because I'll just label it that, whether that's what we call it or not, was a detriment or a positive? Like so you're talking about the musical segments. For me, what I enjoyed was, did you enjoy the line quotes where they would use certain lines that were direct quotes from the trilogy? Like, do you think it was lazy? Do you think it was beneficial? Because I guess I'm enough of a sucker here. I kind of like the music. I kind of like these direct quotes. And maybe I'm just so eager for content in this universe. And that could be the case. But I didn't have a problem with it. But did you have an issue with this music and these direct line quotes?
I mean, the line quotes, so I made a comment about how I thought the dialogue sucked. And the reason why I think the dialogue sucked is because it didn't War of the Rohirrim is a story that is told, hang on, let me see. How long is War of the Rohirrim in the books? So it is... No, not how many pages is War of the Rohirrim. When they were adapting Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Sure.
So War of the Rohirrim is 96 pages long.
Okay.
So there's substance there.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not The Hobbit. It's not The Lord of the Rings. It's not this. And so The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings do a lot of pulling direct quotes from the books. And as a result, most of the lines being delivered feel very Tolkien.
Sure.
Right, the sentence structure and just the language that's being used, and and I don't mean languages, but I mean the word choice and the it's got a real, it just feels, especially like Rohan is Tolkien's of Tolkien's characters of his races in Middle Earth. They are the Anglo-Saxon race. Right, you have different. All of the races are kind of based off in Lord of the Rings are kind of based off different cultures and races and stuff like that in our time. And so that is his Anglo-Saxon, his English mythology, knights and horses and kings on thrones and great halls and that is based off of British lore.
Right. Yep.
And they speak that way in those films as such. And I just felt like the writing in this, like it felt like it was consistent with just any other anime. Or any other animated, like there wasn't a lot of Tolkienisms in the lines that were being delivered, except for when they would quote or rip lines from The Lord of the Rings And that bothered me because it's like, but that's not who says that. Right? Like it pisses me off because they've done it a couple of times in Rings of Power as well.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, why are you taking this iconically great line, powerful Gandalf line,
Oh, I see.
and giving it to so-and-so with a stick in a completely different, right? Like, write your own shit, or like spend more time quoting the book as opposed to just self-quoting. You know, I didn't mind the music because the music made sense to me. I did not, like, as far as fan service stuff goes, right? Yep. I don't know that I even would consider the music fan service. I think it just makes sense.
Sure.
I didn't even mind seeing two orcs prowling the countryside collecting rings.
Rings, sure.
Because it makes sense.
Right.
Right? It's giving you some context of what would be going on with the orcs around this time. Yeah. Sauron knows the ring is out there somewhere. Isn't going to give all of the details, you know, like even in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah, no.
The orcs that are fighting out on the battlefield, they know dick about the ring.
Yeah.
Right?
Like even when they're bringing back Merry and Pippin to Saruman, they're like, yeah, they have some elvish weapon, and it's very vague and non-specific. It's very
the ring is a very secretive mission.
Yeah.
Right? And Sauron knows that. He's not going to say, hey, two idiot orcs. This is the specific ring you're looking for. This is the description of it. Right. And this is why I want it so bad, right?
Right.
So that makes sense. I don't have an issue with that. I think the stupid reference to Gandalf at the end, that's straight up in your face fan. Hey, you see what name we said? And I'm like,
I mean, The Hobbit did it too with Strider. They're like, we don't know what we call him, but some might learn to call him Strider. Some bull crap.
And that's, it's just, you know, I don't know, but like, but at least in that, at least when they did it in The Hobbit, we know that is where Legolas is headed next, right? And so it does kind of, I mean, maybe the general audience doesn't know, but it's
sure.
They have a friendship and spend time together. They know each other prior to the Council of Elrond.
They know each other outside of work. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They've shared beers, and so it that kind of makes sense to me still.
Right.
This was just like, hey, we know we made you sit through 2 hours and 15 minutes of people you don't know or recognize, because nobody makes an appearance in this, except Saruman at the end, right? And now the Saruman thing doesn't bother me.
I'm drawing a blank. What do you mean the Saruman thing? Have I blanked on something?
Saruman shows up, and they got a guy that sounds just like Christopher Lee to voice him.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
When he's like the new resident of Isengard.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought you meant Sauron. I'm like, was there some post-credit scene I forgot?
No. Yeah. So it doesn't bother me that Saruman shows up as the guy that's going to take over Orthanc.
Which I loved seeing Orthanc. As a side note, I loved seeing the Peter Jackson universe elements of things.
I loved that, that it was all consistent. We could recognize, oh shit, it's Helm's Deep, right?
Yeah.
But I think they dropped the ball a little bit. This is a heavily narrated film, right? Not only do we get our opening monologue.
So I won't hold you up. Well, actually, finish your thought and then I'll piggyback on you.
Well, it's a heavily narrated film, right? We get our opening monologue.
It is.
But then the narration comes back in several times to like pass time, like, you know, like to explain a time jump or do a big exposition dump while 6 months in the film are passing.
Right.
But there was which I didn't mind, but there's a lot of there's a lot of shit that I just felt like you could have written in the script for your narrator to help smooth things out for the people who don't know going into this film, who don't already know the story, don't know the history of Middle Earth at this period of time, right?
Sure.
Stuff like Helm's Deep is not called Helm's. I mean, the more observant of people will go, "Oh, King Helm." And it's, you know, but it's not called Helm's Deep in this film. At this time, it's not Helm's Deep. And I think there could have been, because like at the start of the film, they do this whole thing about like, oh, you all know the story of the War of the Ring and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But 200 years before Bilbo, which is great, sets the scene, but it doesn't explain simple things to you. Like, yeah, like I'm sure as we're watching the film, as soon as we showed up in Isengard and there's the Tower of Orthanc and Brienne's probably going, oh, I wonder if Saruman's home. And I'm thinking, no, he doesn't live there yet. Right? He hasn't taken up residence. Orthanc has not always been his tower. Right? That's not Saruman the White's home. That was abandoned for a very long time. And then Saruman decided that he would take up residence there. And like, there's just a lot of little things like that where I was like, just give the people, throw them a bone, man. Give them a little knowledge.
So I'm going to piggyback on some of the things you're saying here. So I think I disagree I agree. I enjoyed the music. I disagreed in some aspects of the writing that I actually didn't mind the lip service of the fanboying of here's a direct line from the movie. I get your point, what you're saying. I was okay with it. I do feel like some aspects of the writing were problematic, and I can agree with you on. And I don't know if it's about the project itself was rushed, if it was New Line Cinema just trying to get this Lord of the Rings product out on the market just for contractual and obligation reasons here. But I felt like the issues I had with weren't the lip service quotes from the movie, but it was more just like aspects of in the for the opening dialogue where it talks about, like, it specifically says Hera is never mentioned in any of Rohan's songs, and then that's it. And like at the beginning of the movie, I'm like, well, why is that? And then throughout the movie, I'm like, well, are we going to find out why? Like, did she do something great, but then was did she do something dishonorable? Is there something that she wasn't truly acknowledged for what she did because she's a woman or because she was ostracized for some reason? And then, like, it's never mentioned again. And it was just little things like that where I went, why did you write this the way you did? And why did you never touch it again or have any significance? So I will agree. For different reasons, there were some aspects of the writing that I thought were kind of meh.
Yeah.
Or didn't quite add up.
Yep.
What did you think about our main character and the characters in general?
I don't know. I think they were fine. I mean, I think Helm Hammerhand is an interesting character. He's obviously an important historical figure in Rohan's history. Mm-hmm. I mean, the man's got a deep named after him.
Right.
And so there's that. I do think you have to, again, I understand. I don't understand the anime. I understand animation because I think you would struggle to portray, like, even in films or a film universe as fantastical as The Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. I think you'd have a hard time portraying Helm Hammerhand.
Yeah.
With his wraithy, godlike, superhuman abilities in live action.
Yeah.
And making it not feel
weird.
Just like it stuck out like a weird thing.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we can't have Dwayne Johnson or John Cena play him, so what do we do? Right.
Yeah, I don't even know. Because he's a man of big build.
Yeah.
right? Like he's not even just like, it's not that he's specifically ripped. He's like husky,
no, exactly.
Right? He's a brawler.
Yeah, like it's not like other things where you go, okay, James Pattinson put on 20 pounds of muscle, bulk up. It's like, no, like it's the body type, like it's the size.
Again, I think you mean Robert Pattinson.
What did I say?
James Pattinson.
You
just
every time.
You need to discipline your children and have them allow you to take on a persona other than James. Because that's been so ingrained into your or just stop participating in playtime. This is why you had more than 2 kids or more than 1 kid. Make them play with each other.
Right.
Be like, no, Dad's tired. Give me a beer. Right? But no, yeah, 100%. So I mean, I like Helm Hammerhand. I think he was probably my favorite character. Hera's fun, but again, like I don't know, like you know, like there's just a lot of stuff that they had to like shoehorn in or like flesh out in their story because there's not that much book. Yes. It didn't seem as artificial as The Hobbit, though, because I feel like The Hobbit, and I like The Hobbit movies, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they're the gold medal of stretching things out in, there's more actual written material, but stretching it out into 3 movies is a bit much. And it didn't feel that stretched out to me. Not to the same degree. I mean, again, it's and that may be the difference of knowing the source material and not knowing the source material. That's very possible. That's very possible. Right. And so I don't know. So I honestly liked Hera. I thought she was kind of a lot of fun. I liked Helm. I liked all the lineage and all the family tree that was involved and how they all seemed rich to me. I feel like they all had strong character motivations. I really liked her motivations throughout. I thought it was there were some times where there was just some weird things, and I think it gets into the writing as well, where like she's wearing the wedding dress at the peak, like the apex of the battle scene, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Like that just seemed a bit hokey. But for the most part, I really thought I enjoyed our main characters. The villain I thought was maybe on the opposite side. I don't really know if our villain was as fleshed out as I would like him to be. I don't know if Wolf could have been more 2-dimensional. Yeah. I'd even say just 1-dimensional. He's just like, oh, I'm brooding. Well, yeah, because here's the thing: like, revenge. His father was stirring up shit, and it wasn't even that Helm did anything malicious. He just threw one punch, and he's a strong guy. So, I mean, morally, our villain didn't have much to stand on, as far as like his father's death was kind of accidental. So I feel like it would have been either giving him some more emotional depth or even giving him some more backstory to explain where he is and why he is. I that would have done a lot for me. So I think our villain was a little lacking for me, but our main characters I really enjoyed, and Hera specifically being the protagonist I really enjoyed. I mean, here's the thing, though, and I don't know if, like, remove Rings of Power from this because Rings of Power is not super book accurate. Sure. But, like, just looking at if all you'd ever watched was Lord of the Rings, there is no more 2-dimensional villain than Sauron. He's just bad. He's just a bad guy. He's just a bad guy that wants to be bad everywhere. Mm-hmm. And you don't, aside from 5 seconds in the opening monologue, you never see the guy. You never see the villain. And that's not for me to say
No.
like, wow, this
Yeah.
universe is plagued with shitty villains. No, he's
No,
like one of the best villains. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, Tolkien had a way of writing and viewing things real simplistically. And that sometimes, like, you know, Sauron is just a bad guy. And really, fundamentally, like, he's got a lot of great lines and you always smile when you see him. but Gandalf is just a good guy. He's just a good guy.
I thought you meant you smile when you see Sauron. I'm like,
No.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
contrastly, right? Like, Gandalf is not, like, especially just in the Lord of the Rings movies,
Yeah.
he's not a detailed, layered guy. He's just good. He is just the White Knight. He is just a force of good, and Sauron is just a force of bad. You have super layered characters like Aragorn, but there's no real, like, you know, Gandalf is a Maiar that it was sent here as a protector and a guardian, and so that's what he does. He protects and he guards.
I'll agree with you because that is a very good point of the simplicity in that example, and it's iconic. It's one of the greatest stories that I've enjoyed, and you don't need any more complexity. And there's something simple about it that if you are watching the movie for the first time and you go to the bathroom and you come back, you know, there's not any plot twist that Sauron was really the secret brother of Aragorn, and
Right.
there's no, you know, it's very simple. Like, you know, the motivations, you know, the character depth, you know, like nothing is a surprise.
No, they're trying to change all that and explain it away and give us midichlorians with the Rings of Power by being like, oh, he's actually
Right,
he's really,
right.
He's
But-
so conflicted.
But the original story is very simple. So I'll concede that's a really good point. And I think it maybe comes back to, but there's nothing wrong with simplicity if it had been in this movie, War of the Rohirrim, but it's that it was simplicity. And you hit this kind of like he's also
It was just done poorly.
Well, he's done poorly, but he's also sulky Sam, and it just it almost becomes kind of detracting from him. Like if he was just purely evil or purely mischievous, which he was, but there was also the sulky, I'm a 2-year-old and throwing a fit about this kind of aspect.
Oh,
to it
yeah.
as well.
I mean, if anything, my statement should just be as more of a demerit to Wolf and his existence in this film, because he's less simplistic than Sauron is. They do give us some for him, and it's still not great. So
yeah, no, that's a really good point.
is there a time to talk about the financials of this film?
I think we should.
Okay. So the film was made for $30 million, which is a test to what I said. That's why you do animation.
Yep.
Again, I think a very strong argument could be made that this was a straight to streaming type of thing. But you know, whatever. It is what it is. There's theatrical animated films all the time.
Yep.
All the time. But I really, 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 really think they hurt themselves with this anime thing. I almost didn't want to see it. Huge Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth, Tolkien nerd.
Yep.
And the anime was such an like, even before buying a ticket to see this film, the anime was such an off-putting concept to me that I was like, well, you know, maybe if it comes out, I'll probably never watch this movie again.
Wow.
And like, I'm not upset that I watched it, but I don't need. It's not going to become a part of. Oh, okay, now we have to watch. No, we watched Lord of the Rings and we watched Hobbit. Now we got to watch War of the Rohirrim. No, I don't care.
But now I'll say that because I echoed. That's exactly what I said in the opening theme or in our opening regards of. I'm not sure if I need to rewatch it a lot, but I will just say as just a general point about movies, that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. Like there are great movies that one does not feel the need to watch again and again. It takes quite the lightning in a bottle to find that next The Return of the King, that next Fellowship of the Ring, that is,
Well,
I like this movie. It's good, and I watch it yearly. There's only a handful of those movies. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm just playing
watching
devil's
this
advocate.
film was like eating that final hot sauce when we did our hot sauce fundraiser. I'm glad I did it. Glad I did it. I'm not going to put it on a burger. It's not, it's not like I don't need to do it. I'll watch someone else do it, but I don't. Now, The Hunt for Gollum, those films that are coming out, that might be a different story.
Sure.
But that's because they're going to be so closely tied into, like, they're happening during the events of and intertwined into, the Lord of the Rings, which will be kind of weird because it'll be like, marathoning from now on will be like, okay, watch the first half hour of The Fellowship. And then we have to watch this other trilogy. And then we'll pick up again. We'll show you chronologically what all is happening here. So $30 million to make this film.
Sure.
It released on December 13th. At the time of recording this, it is December 30th. The film has brought in $16.5 million.
Oof.
This is a financial disaster. And it all comes back to the question, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
What were you thinking? If you had put out that first trailer and it had been, one of those other, the Klaus animation style or anything, you still would have lost a lot of people, I think.
It's hard to know.
But you would have retained, I think, a bunch of people that were just because anime is just such an extreme.
It's a niche market for sure.
Right? It's like, hey, I put pickles on your burger, and some guy goes, I'm not a huge pickle guy, but blah, blah, blah. And then someone's like, they're gherkins. And it's like, what? Right? Like, it's just a really specific niche style of animation. And I just don't get it. And I think they realized that, right? Because that trailer, I don't know if you remember, but the trailer for this movie starts with like 60 seconds of showing you flashes from the live action films and playing the music and scrolling over the maps because they had to be like, you remember how much you like Lord of the Rings? Remember?
Right.
Just let how much you like Lord of the Rings sink in for a second. Okay, are you there? You got it.
Do you remember? Good.
You remember? Okay, now bear with us, right? Like,
just blink and. No, I think it's a bit of a double standard here because you're calling it a ruin. If I earned $16 million, I don't know. I think that's a pretty good day.
If you had spent. No. Yeah, exactly. If you opened a lemonade stand tomorrow and made $16.5 million, you'd be over the moon until you remembered that lemonade stand cost you $30 million to build.
Right.
Right. That you've lost $14.5 million.
Yeah.
Or $13.5 million.
For sure.
Plus the marketing cost, which was not a shit ton for this film. They really didn't do there's no press junket. Right? No one's sitting there like, and next up on the friggin' Jimmy Kimmel tonight is the voice of the second orc looking for a ring, right? Like, yes, Jimmy. Well, what I tried to do is channel all of those extras that came before me.
And just the man flesh.
Yeah.
Just let
I actually
it flow.
flew over. We didn't make a stop, but on my way leaving Australia, we flew over New Zealand. So I feel like if anyone's qualified to do this,
it's me.
And they had like weirdly though, and again I'm like, but now you're pulling me out of the Peter Jackson universe. Both those orcs had like super strong British accents.
Right.
And I'm like, what is happening? Why don't they sound like any of the other orcs that we've ever heard in this universe? Right? Like, instead of like, ooh, man flesh, they sound like, oh, spot of man flesh.
I don't know if I didn't pick up on that.
Would you like a spot of, would you like, oh, surprise, it's Hugh Grant. Spot of oh, Dark Lord. I played an Oompa Loompa, and then I thought, what other career-ruining thing could I do? Yeah, I don't know.
Sure. Anything else to hit on? Anything else before we rate this puppy?
I just don't get it, dude. I just don't. That's it. Like, at some point you're gonna have to cut me off because I'm just gonna be a broken record. I'm gonna cut you off now
because if they want to hear it again, I'll say they should check out the initial impressions.
It's garbage. Not necessarily the film, just the decision to do anime is garbage.
Yeah, that decision is. You've convinced me. I think of some other examples of non-anime could have ended in a very different way. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So on a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rank the Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim?
I don't know if you'll be shocked by this or not, but I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I still think it's good. I don't think it's any higher than that. So when I look at how I rank movies, it doesn't creep into the 8. It's not a 9. It's not a 10. But it's still good. So that's why it has to be at minimum a 7. My favorite installment is The Two Towers. I love Rohan. I know it's of the movies and of the kingdoms, it's one of the least magical heavy ones where it's basically about war. It's about this group of people and their culture and their history and where they live, where they go when they're in trouble. So everything just was the right thing for me as far as I was just eager for content. Yeah, there were some issues. Yeah, there definitely some things could have been done better. But at the end of the day, it felt like a Lord of the Rings story for me. I had a lot of fun with it. And at the end of the day, I paid money to see it in a theater and I left and I went, that was a fun afternoon. So unlike some other Star Wars MCU products out there, I can't say the same thing. So this, even though it wasn't successful financially, this has done some things that other IPs have not been able to do. For me. What did you give it out of 10?
I'm going to give it a 4. I think it's a good story. There's some pretty out of touch, uninformed writing in terms of dialogue and how the dialogue is really not Tolkienisms. I think there's some pretty two-dimensional characters. I think that the visuals leave, like, not even, like, the anime thing aside, I think just, like, because it's anime, some of the landscapes or character expressions or, it just leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
The film suffers both atmospherically and emotionally as a result. Yeah. It's not total garbage. I'm not going to give it a 1.
Right.
But I think this is an example, pulling out from the specifics of the film itself. I think this is a pretty good example of when filmmakers just make a series of poor decisions. Not to say you can't make great anime films and stick them in the theaters and maybe it would do really well, right? Like a feature-length Pokemon movie, who knows?
Yeah.
But to take to take something like The Lord of the Rings, which is not even a North American, like the North Americans, yeah, we take and consume all sorts of different cultures, media, and stuff like that. it's not even a North American property, right? Tolkien was English. And it was his love for English lore and literature and languages and Old English and Anglo-Saxon and all, and to make it like, I just don't know that there's two more diametrically opposed things than the Lord of the Rings and anime. And it's just a gross mashup to me. Yeah. Yeah. Really, really too bad. But I'm glad we have more Lord of the Rings on the way, right? That there's more Rings of Power coming and that we're getting the Hunt for Gollum films. No, whether those are good or not, who knows?
We'll find out.
But at least it wasn't like, oh, that's who knows, right? We got a Lord of the Rings thing. We weren't expecting it. We didn't know we'd get it, and we don't know if or when we'll ever get more again. At least this wasn't a disappointing swan song.
Yeah, there's more to come. The only downside is how long we have to wait.
Yeah, well,
takes time.
It's the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wrap it up, sir.
Well, thank you for listening. Whether it is because you like Lord of the Rings, whether it's because you like us, whether it's because you like both, whether you're new to us or old to us, we love that you joined us today. Thank you for listening. Like, follow, subscribe. Anywhere you can, give us a good rate and review. Help the algorithm push us in a positive direction. Check out our Patreon page, our merchandise page. It's ways for you to support the show. It's ways for us to give you support back, whether it's bonus voting, whether it's bonus episodes, the occasional video stream of episodes. We put things on there that are for our super fans only. And until next time, whether it's with Carl, whether it's with me, whether it's with Brady, till we meet again.
Sorry, what?